but we're all right.
We're all good. We're all good. How was your weekend?
It was great. I actually took 4 days off last week, so it felt like extra long. Yeah, so good.
Did you go?
We went to Quebec City.
Oh my gosh, it's so nice.
So beautiful. The old part of the city is so beautiful, and we were there during the blizzard, so that was pretty exciting. Winter came on immediately, but there's still tons to do. I mean, it's such a great place to hang out.
Right? Yeah. No, that's great. I actually went to Quebec City for my honeymoon. It's so
No way.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful there. There's so many things to do. Like you could spend days just wandering around the streets, right?
Yes, yes, absolutely. Okay, so let's get right into this. Thank you so much, Heather, for taking some time out of your busy schedule to come on here and share your expertise. Can we start with just how you achieve your success? I love this question because it's different for everybody. So what does success mean to you?
So success is interesting because I actually talk about it a lot on what people's definition of success is, because they'll feel like they're failing because they're using the wrong definition. Do you know what I mean? So for me, success is is when I feel like I've achieved something bigger. So for me, success is when one of my clients has like oh my gosh, that was so smart, or this has changed my life, or this is what I'm doing now, and this is how they're achieving what they want in their life. So for me, it's my success is helping someone else get their success. And I mean, often in the way our society works and the way we're trained traditionally, success usually is money and promotions. I mean, I don't know, like we were both in corporate, more money, more promotions. That's how we define success, but it doesn't always make you happy. So for me, the success has been like, what really gets me excited is when I can help someone else get something, and that's my success.
Definitely. It's such a
right.
Especially once you leave the corporate world, it's all about making a difference and helping others.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I don't knock corporate, and for some people that is where they feel successful. And so I try to help those people be more successful in those roles, in what they want and what they're achieving. But it's not for everybody, right?
Yeah, I agree. Like my husband, he's comfortable with the 9 to 5, and to be honest, in our relationship, it's great because he's right,
right. Yeah, you gotta negotiate those relationships, right?
Yeah. We're so different from one another, but we complement each other so well.
So
okay.
True.
Can you share a little bit about your biggest wins in your business or your career in the corporate world?
In the corporate world, or after I left? Because that's when I got my biggest wins.
Right. You left?
So it's interesting because when I talk about my biggest wins, when I started, it sometimes sounds like it's like it was a tragedy. So I had this great idea for a group program for small groups of women specifically to come together, because we do so much more when we support each other, which is why like the Toronto Professional Women's Network, so brilliant. Like, I know you didn't plan for it to be what it became, but oh my gosh, who cares? It was so brilliant, like what it's grown into. And when you get groups together, like so many ideas can come and so much support comes, especially if it's all women together. So I had this great idea that I wanted to do this group program, and I'd been sitting on it. And, I call it procrastination by perfection. It's like, oh no, it's not ready yet. It's not ready yet. And then a year ago, I had a stroke. And right. So people think, oh my gosh. I wouldn't rush it on anyone. I don't recommend you go out and take this approach, but because of COVID, I went to the hospital because of COVID and because of overcrowding. I was in the emergency room for 4 days because they couldn't find a bed for me. no one could visit me. And it affected my vision. So I couldn't see my phone, which is our escape route, right? We always go to our social media. So I had to sit there by myself for 4 days. And at first I kept fighting what was going on. I was like, I want out of here. I'm fine. I'm fine. But then I realized, I'm like, no, hold on. I'm okay. This is the perfect place for me to be right now because everyone's looking after me and it's quiet. And I just sat and thought, and I just realized it's like, this is my wake up call to just get on with the things I really want to achieve. And I know that I have this great idea and this great offering. So it's like my success was actually unfortunately, my stroke. Well, not unfortunately, luckily, it was the most extreme way the universe could kick me in the butt without any serious lasting damage. So when I came out, I developed my program. Like I just said, okay, it's time. And I launched it and I ran the first one in January. So I'd had my stroke in October. I ran the first one in January. Then I'm relaunching, and like with the feedback I got, relaunching again this January with like even more blown out with more stuff. And it's just like, it was like my kick in the pants to just get going.
Wow. And how are you doing now? October, within a year now.
Right? Yeah, it was actually Halloween that it happened. So it's October the 29th. So I spent 4 days in the emergency room in downtown Toronto during Halloween. There are some wild people out there, my friends. But I mean, and I talk about this a lot on my podcast, it's like taking care of yourself first. So because I was healthy, because I had done lots of stuff to be healthy in the first place, I think my recovery was probably faster than some people's. And I mean, it all depends on what part of your brain is affected. And I did have some things going on, and I still find I can still get a bit of vertigo if I push myself too hard. So that's like my barometer. It's like, oh, if I start to feel a little off, it's like, Heather, you've done too much. Take your advice. You're supposed to rest now, So it sounds like a terrible thing, but in some ways it's done so much for me to allow me to have that awareness of practice what you preach, take care of yourself, and the understanding of what it takes to come back from a setback, whether it's physical or, I talk about 6 areas of wellness all the time. So there's physical, there is physical, emotional, there's professional setbacks we get, there's relationship setbacks, there is financial setbacks, COVID, hashtag COVID, and there's spiritual, which is just like, what's your purpose? If you feel like you have no purpose, you feel like so heavy and drawn down. So it's like, I've recovered from all of these pieces at different times in my life. I'm like, I can help you with that. I can help you with that. I can help you with that.
Yeah. And you know what? I think this is so great that you're sharing this with everyone today, because I think right now, especially this time of year, it's always very difficult. I know myself as a mompreneur, everything goes on hold as soon as the whole family gets sick. And that's tough. Really tough, but also eye-opening. It's like, okay, I realize health is wealth, right? Especially as an entrepreneur, I think we really have to put our health first, because when we're working in corporate, it's easy just to take a sick day and you're okay, right? You can take the time.
Right.
But as an entrepreneur, everything comes to a halt, right?
And you said the combo, like moms put themselves always last because the family's first, and then entrepreneurs always put their self last. So when you could put the combo together, it's like, okay, you're way at the bottom of the take care of list because you're taking care of your business baby and your real life relationships. And that's upside down, because if you get so worn out, like I've talked to some people on my podcast about, they got themselves so worn out that they burnt out and they couldn't help anyone. But if you give yourself that grace of taking care of yourself and having, like you said, health as well, even just mental space, then you have so much more to give to your all various forms of babies. And it is true, when they get sick, they're so demanding.
Right? Yeah. The first with mom and dad are sick too. And it's like, we help them, but you can't, because you're just like, you're sick too.
Yeah. And sick is going to happen, but being like, just, and for entrepreneurs, having a business that can survive a little bit without you, that's helpful. Having kids, having a support system, like that's the community aspect. Like, yeah, if your kids are sick, having they used to say it takes a village to raise a child, right? It's like, not that you need a whole village, but having some support systems in place. And we depend on grandparents sometimes or relatives, but sometimes it doesn't have to be that, right? Just having something that you can turn to when you need help. We often feel like we have to go it alone, like I'm the superwoman, I have to, but you're okay. You can ask for help. It doesn't make you weak in any way, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Totally agree with that. I actually meant to ask you at the very beginning, can you share a little bit about your Celebrity Chat podcast?
Oh, yeah.
You need to be your podcast. And I just would like for everyone to hear today to know a little bit more about that. When did you get started with it? And just share.
Well, it's interesting because I had a business coaching podcast way back in like 2019 that I ran for a long time. And then that morphed into more of a conversation podcast, mostly with coaches. And then this week's episode will be 1 year of this form of the podcast. Like, woohoo! I did a lot when I got into the hospital, right? So it's called Back to Me, Wellness Your Way. And once a week I come on on a Wednesday with just a quick thought of like some little thing just to think about for the week to kind of help you repattern some of your thinking. But every Friday I have a celebrity on. And yes, you are one of my fabulous celebrities. Yay! And it's just an awesome human being who has some knowledge that I want to be able to share with the audience. So I recognize I don't know everything. Sometimes I like to think that no, I'm kidding. I would like to know everything, but there's no way I can know everything. But there's all these experts out in the world who have their little piece that they know and that they want to help people with. So I want to highlight those people and bring them on. And I've talked to you, and I've talked to meditation teachers and yoga teachers and financial advisors. Talked to a wedding planner once. I mean, I've talked to psychics. I've talked to, she's an organization coach. Like she teaches you how to declutter, a decluttering coach. So it's like, there's just so many authors who wrote books. Nutritional experts. So that I post that they go out every Friday. Yes. 3 p.m. Eastern. And my intention when I talk to people about the podcast, so my intention is just to give you as many resources as I can to help you be successful in whatever your success is. I mean, we started with that, right?
Yeah. And what about your wellness journey as well? You, I know I've seen a few times you've been live with the workouts as well. So how often do you do that?
So that is, I used to have my own yoga studio. So after I left corporate, I went back to school to become a massage therapist, and I opened my own yoga studio. So we had a yoga studio for 10 years. So I've been teaching yoga for almost 19 years, if you can believe it. I know. And when the tidal wave of condominiums flew over Toronto, they actually closed my studio so they could take it for a condo. So I went online, and I'm in a collective of Tai Chi teachers. We all have the same teacher. So we all wanted to keep offering our classes. And COVID, we were around before COVID, which was interesting. So we have an online studio, and I teach a form of Tai Chi that just fuses yoga and Tai Chi together. It's really cool. I love it. And I still teach a chair yoga class, but the one that you see, so that's inside the studio itself, but the one that you see is every Wednesday morning. I live stream it to Facebook and Instagram, both at the same time. And it's just like a little 15-minute taste of the fusion of the yoga and the Tai Chi. And I love teaching that class because I've done yoga for 23 years. For my own practice, and I know the benefits of doing yoga, but some people are like, it's not fully accessible. And then the Tai Chi benefits are similar but different. And when you put them together, they just fuse so nicely.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I come from I did martial arts. I almost got to a black belt. Not a lot of people know that about me, but I
Fun fact.
yeah, Tai Chi is one of those martial arts, right? It's considered a martial art, but it's more meditative.
Well, if you speed up a Tai Chi video, a video of someone doing Tai Chi, you can see the martial arts aspect of it. Like if you speed it up, but it's because it's moving super slow that you don't realize that it's actually quite defensive. I actually was a black stripe in Taekwondo like
Oh
20
wow.
years ago. Yeah. I didn't get black belt. I was right below black belt, same as you,
I was brown belt.
right?
That's
So
awesome.
crazy.
Yeah, it teaches so much discipline, don't you find? Like, how many times a week did you train?
I was there all the time. And because of my business background, I was helping my master with his business. So felt like I was there like every day, you know, like you're either training or you're working on the financial information for your master. It's like, yes, Master Lee. Yes, Master Lee.
I love it. It's a great sense of community too, I found.
Oh my gosh, right?
Yeah. All right. So I know today we wanted to talk a little bit about work-life balance. So could you share a bit on your thoughts on work-life balance?
So this came to me at one point. So I get these flashes of, oh my gosh, yeah, there is no such thing as work-life balance. And I think we spend all these time on these like productivity hacks so that we can do more, so that we can have more free time. And the problem that we run into is there's no such thing. I mean, trying to separate work from your life, you're never going to achieve it because it is a big part of your life. So it's trying to find a way to integrate it into, like, first do something that you actually enjoy doing and want to do. So that's like a success definition, but integrating it so it becomes part of your life and you don't feel like you need to be getting away from it all of the time. So when I talk about work-life balance, I talk about values versus priorities. So we say we value, like I was talking to a doctor recently her number one value is her kids. She wants to be there when they go to bed. She wants to be there when they get up, but she was prioritizing her work. So she was super stressed out. And like the stress of work-life balance comes because you're prioritizing the things that are not as important to you, but you feel like you have to do them. You feel obligated to do them. So you feel like it's taking something away from you. So trying to work through, I mean, we need, not always, need, it's not the right word. We choose to work because we want to earn revenue and, we need I heard someone refer to it once as the coin of the realm. We need that money exchange, but we can choose how to do that so that we can integrate it into our lives. So we're not trying to escape it to spend all of our time somewhere else. Do you know what I mean? It's like the balance is all of those aspects of the wellness. I call it a wellness wheel. It's like all those 6 pieces, and work is only one piece of it. If you can integrate it in so that it's just part of your flow, then there's no stress and there's no trying to figure out how to escape from it.
Exactly. Oh my goodness. I completely agree with you. My boys, that's kind of what I want to teach them as they get older, right? Because I think in schools, especially, it's like, what do you want to be when you grow up, right? And it's a one thing, and you're gonna that one thing, and you get a job, and you go to university, and everything. But I want them to make their decisions because they want to do those things. And so I was having a conversation with my he's turning 6 in June. So
Wow.
he wants to be so many things right now. He's seen
That's good though.
downtown Toronto, so he likes that. He's like, I definitely want to work in the office, and he's like, I also want to be a garbage truck driver, and I like hockey, something to do with hockey. So you know what, he's so great because he's into the days of the week they teach him that in school, right? So he's like, Monday will be hockey day, Tuesday will be office day, and Wednesday will be the other thing that he likes. And I was like, That's genius. Like, what? All plan our lives this way.
Right. And it's so interesting because we do, I remember, like, how can you decide in high school what you're going to do for the rest of your life? I mean, you can't decide. That's how I ended up being an accountant, because I was like, I don't know what to do. I guess I'll do this because I'm pretty good at it. And it took me years to realize that you could change your mind. You can go do something else. And that permission, like finding, it's almost like usually we want the permission to come from outside. Give yourself permission to change your mind. And when I was a little kid, interesting, I told everybody I was going to be a veterinarian and I was going to be an artist. And then and I became an accountant. I mean, that doesn't even make sense to me. So now, I mean, I am actually an artist. I have an Etsy store now because I gave myself permission to, yes, I actually like art. So that's another business that I have. I'm a multipreneur, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't become a veterinarian, but I did become a massage therapist and got into that whole like wellness space.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's just I like when I recognized what actually made me happy and kind of started moving towards it. That's when I changed things.
So interesting. And would you say your more thing is like one side of the brain and there's a left and the right side? So are you like right in the middle? Are you both like equal on both sides?
I actually took a brain test once that said I was right in the middle of left and right brain and auditory visual. So it's like, and it was funny because it said, because you can equally stand in all of these places, you're in conflict with yourself all the time on how to do things, because you'll come up with a great idea and then you'll see another great idea and you'll like, actually it's true. I always tell people I'm an ideas doula. Like I can come up with ideas endlessly, but I can't raise all these ideas. So I can birth the ideas and then I have to give them away because I can't raise all those.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. And would you consider yourself more introverted or extroverted? Because there's that, too, right?
Yeah, it's interesting because did you ever have to do the Myers-Briggs? And,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
According to the Myers-Briggs personality profile, I'm an E. So I'm extrovert in that I gain my energy and talk from interacting with people. But at the same time, I'm pretty shy.
Okay.
And so in some ways, I'm an introverted extrovert.
I'm the same way.
Right?
Like we get our energy, but then also like we need to recharge our batteries. So we turn into introverts so we can recharge and get that energy back to go back out again, right?
And recognizing that you need to take that time for yourself is super important, right? That you need and being okay saying I just need some recharge time and stepping away.
Yeah, exactly. Like I clean my weekends and it can be tough sometimes when I get messages on the weekend. I'm like, my brain's just checked out from social media, just family. I set that for myself. So
I actually turn off my notifications.
Oh, you do? Yeah.
Yeah, I turn off my notifications from social media because when even if I just see the light on my phone flashing, it's like, I need to check that. So I just turn off the notifications and I will go look at them when I'm back.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. That's such a good tip. I love that. We did get a comment, so I'm just going to read it out loud.
Yeah.
There's Chev who left us a comment here. It says, make time for your health before you're forced to make time for your illness. Such an important message to take time and put yourself first.
So true. That's brilliant. Yeah. Before your illness. Yeah.
Yeah. No, for sure. I spent quite a bit of money on some supplements for this winter, but it's like I just, especially, the vitamin D. I'm no expert when it comes to what to take, but you should see my stash. It's huge.
I'm the same. I have a naturopath, and I have a friend who's studying to be a naturopath. And I also have all these experts that I talked to. I talked to a nutritional health expert a few months ago. It's like, she's so smart. I'm going to go do that.
Yes, exactly. No, that's great. All right. So I will just ask a couple of closing questions here. So can you share your biggest lesson that you've learned that you want everyone to walk away with?
Yeah. So the biggest thing you need to know is that, yes, you are enough. And yes, you have tons of value. And you owe it to yourself to fully express everything that you are here to express. So it's okay to be an introvert. It's okay to be an extrovert. It's okay to be whatever you want to be and be awesome at it. Really, just pick your lane and be awesome. And don't judge where somebody else's lane is, because that's their lane. So you do you. You do you is always my message.
Exactly. And another, like along those lines too, kind of reminds me of the more successful and the more you put yourself out there, there's gonna be people that like don't necessarily vibe with you, right? And
True.
That's actually a good thing, because then you can turn that around and be like, okay, well, I'm standing for what I really believe in, and I'm going to continue with that, whether these people follow me or not.
Right. And you don't need all the people to like you. That's what we should teach in school. You don't need everybody to like you. The right people is what you need.
Yeah, exactly. It's not about having a million followers, right? It's about having followers that truly vibe with you and believe in what it is that you're standing for.
Yeah. And value you.
Yes.
Right.
So important. Yeah. And nowadays, now you can buy those followers, but it's like you're yourself any good by doing that.
No, not at all.
No. All right. And last question, how do we stay in touch with you? I know that your podcast, you're on like so many different platforms. So what's the best way to get in touch with you?
So if you want to contact me, you can just go to my website, prosperityflowcoaching.com.
Oh.
But I am on Instagram as Heather Stewart Coaching. I'm on Facebook as Prosperity Flow Coaching, and the podcast is on Apple and Google and Anchor, Spotify, and like YouTube. I'm even on YouTube. So back to me. If you put it back to me, wellness your way, you'll find it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much again, Heather. It was such a pleasure having you on here today. And thanks again for your time as well for coming on.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. It was awesome. And I always love chatting with you, like, because I love the networking meetings where we get to chat.
Thank you so much. And yeah, we'll see you again soon.
All right. Take care.
Bye, Heather.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thanks for tuning in. If you'd like to join the ranks of inspiring women making waves on this series, or learn more about becoming a VIP member with us, head over to torontoprofessionalwomen.com and get ready to take your career journey up a notch.
Hey.